Further debate? I recognize the member for Mississauga Malton, Aaron Mills.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm very happy to stand today to speak once again about Bill 166, the Strengthening Accountability and Student Supports Act. This bill contains historical changes that will help our students. Our students are the future of Ontario, the future of Canada. And this bill would support students while creating accountability. We as a government will only be viewed as successful if the next generation remembers us fondly with bills which made their life better. Madam Speaker, tomorrow's professionals are students of today. As a father of two young men, Dr. David and soon-to-be dentist Christopher, who are about to complete their terms and come to workforce, but also as a professor who had been teaching college students since 2007, till date over 17 years. I have met hundreds and thousands of students. I taught hundreds. Proudly to say one of my former students sits here as a member of this chamber as one of our colleagues today. I can claim that I understand many of the challenges students go through in the post-secondary sector. It is our duty to try to pave the way for them to be successful as students and, more importantly, as future citizens, as professionals, and those who will be able to compete in Ontario, in Canada, and anywhere around the world. So Bill 166, the Strengthening Accountability and Student Supports Act, will support students while creating accountability for actions, which is the third reading debate. So many of those details are already covered. As this is my last chance to speak for this bill, I want to address the bill from the perspective of its reasoning and importance and how it will impact our students. I know that many of our universities and colleges already providing mental health support for their students. As the Minister mentioned, 5 colleges, George Brown, Centennial, Humber, Seneca, and Sheridan already have programs. 2 of them I was faculty members of. They already partnered to pool their expertise and resources as they support students. I know firsthand, having been a faculty of at least 2 of them for many years, that this bill is raising the bar. It would mandate and hold universities and colleges administration accountable to support students. This is a good start. We want to standardize it, make it mainstream, not only at some of the institutions. Every post-secondary institution should have comprehensive support for students' mental health. Mr. Speaker, we believe, and acting on the belief that mental health is health. Our government allocated $32 million for 2023-2024 in mental health to support post-secondary students through grants like Mental Health Services Grant and Mental Health Workers Grant. Mr. Speaker, our government was the first government to appoint an associate minister especially for mental health, because we believe that mental health is health. We are, as a government, trying to remove the stigma around mental health. Speaker, our students are already under severe stress of exams, competition, uncertainty, and fears of future and fears of failure. Some students develop mental illnesses, and unfortunately, in some cases, they even commit suicide. Losing one life is too much, Mr. Speaker. Those losses could be prevented because this could be easily recognized and got the right attention and medication early enough that could have been good, proactive citizens living within us today. I believe this bill is an important step to mandate and hold educational institutions accountable. We want to keep an eye on and care for our most vulnerable and valuable, our students, our kids. Mr. Speaker, the other part of that bill is talking about freedom of speech in universities and colleges. It is important to create an environment where our students can freely express their opinions and exchange those opinions with other students. But at the same time, we need to be very firm in regarding to hate speeches and bullying and any other form of discrimination against students. This is not a freedom of speech. This is discrimination, and it could affect the mental health of students. We need to create an environment which is inclusive, safe for our students. With that said, I very strongly recommend full support from both sides, our colleagues in the opposition, to support that bill, which will benefit our students, will benefit all universities and colleges in their way to help their students, monitor their students, take their responsibility in protecting our students. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions, please. Questions. The member from London North, please.
Thank you, Speaker. During pre-budget consultations, the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs had the opportunity to hear from a number of different post-secondary institutions who are deeply concerned about this government's cuts. I believe that when we look at Bill 166, it really is masking some of the cuts that the government has made. In fact, this government would talk about the $1 billion that is put within the system, but that is nowhere near enough to make up for the cuts that they have made. Would the member agree that this bill is an example of yet another distraction from this government's disastrous anti-education agenda?
Mills.
Thank you for my colleague for the question. I totally disagree about the question like he is asking, because despite the fact that $32 million is a good number to start with, we are starting somewhere. This is just a start. We said we are trying to move the bar, to raise the bar, to make sure that our students are having some mental health attention from the institutions they are running on. They are going to every day. This is the only way we can monitor their health, mental health. Well, if there's more money needed in the future, we'll see. Through the grants program, all the institutions should be able to build the programs to monitor the...
Thank you for the response. Questions, please. Minister for Colleges and Universities, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to my colleague for supporting this bill and the great work that it's intended to do. And I know when we first met in 2018, you were also a faculty member at the same time as I was at Georgian College at that time, and you have post-secondary age sons as well. So I wanted to hear from you, as a faculty member and as a parent of students, what do you hear from those students about the needs for mental health supports on campus?
Thank you, Minister. To the question, please.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the question. And it is actually very, very important to be able to monitor, to have people who have the expertise to recognize those issues, because students go to university or college, they come late evening, they might see their parents, sometimes they might not see their parents, or they are living in a campus which is far from home. So nobody will be able to monitor those changes except the people who are spending the whole day with them. They're faculty people, they're college, university guys. They are the guys who see them every day, and they can immediately recognize change in behavior or a pattern of absence or not focusing.
Thank you
This
for the
is where they
response,
can
please.
get some-
Thank you for your response. The member from Humber River, Black Creek, please.
Thank you, Speaker. You know, in 2018, when the member was elected, one of the first things that this Conservative government did was rip up a grant program that existed to help students from low-income families go to university in an affordable way. We continue to see families, bright, ambitious students, facing massive financial barriers to go into university or colleges. Again, students in Ontario pay the highest tuitions in all of Canada. Does the member believe that financial barriers to education should exist for our students?
Response, please. The member from Mississauga Air Mills.
Thank you for my colleague. Despite the fact that this question is not related to the inclusion environment in the campus or preventing discrimination or supporting freedom of speech, you are talking about the OSAP changes, which is actually, we did put the OSAP where it was. Before election, when previous Liberal government tried to prepare for the election by bribing voters, saying, we'll give you free programs. When we took over, we just put back. OSAP is a loan system which every student can make use of OSAP and pay back the money on 20 years, which is very...
Thank you for that response. The Minister for Colleges and Universities, please.
Well, thank you, Speaker. And I wanted just to ask one more question and kind of building off what the opposition member had mentioned and said that he thought that we were the highest tuition in Canada. We're actually fourth now because of the tuition cuts this government has made. But I wanted to ask the member about the tuition freeze and what the impact is going to have on students to be able to access post-secondary education.
That concludes our time for responses. Thank you to the member for Mississauga Air Mills. Thank you.